Hello again, folks. Welcome back to Lewis on Film. I am Lewis, and the other day on my Facebook page, I posted the link to the first 7 minutes of Mortal Kombat because they released it online, and I was excited to see it. It was done with a flourish. That very first scene. I imagine you've all seen it now. Now, the flourish that follows the very first 7 minutes isn't as smooth as that 7 minutes, but that isn't to say the film doesn't have some real fun along the way. Let's have a look. So, leaving out the very first scene for a moment, the story is told through Cole, who is a new character. You won't have seen him in the games, and that's a good way of doing it, because everyone else who he meets is kind of clued into something mystic and legendary that's out there, but Cole isn't, because he's got a wife and a kid, and that's his priority. He's an orphan, so he's kind of got no idea of his heritage, and we get to go on this journey with someone who doesn't know what he's in for, and that allows us in better, certainly than the previous Mortal Kombat film back in '95. But of course, the evil guys are assassinating the Earth's champions. They're hunting down the Earth's champions, so they won't have anyone strong enough to fight them when the tournament of Mortal Kombat comes around. So the fighters have to train and band together. Those fighters are Sonya Blade, Jax, and Kano. Of course, they go off to meet Lord Raiden. Liu Kang shows up, as does Kung Lao with his awesome hat, and they get to training. That's basically the film, and there's a few twists and turns along the way. So the good here is, like I said, if you haven't seen the first 7 minutes clip that's online, go and check it out. It's really really good. Is that clip, I think, and it more or less tells you what you're in for straight away, even if it doesn't give you the full plot. But the tone is set early, shall we say, and the standard is set early, and more within reason, they do keep the tempo going. Unfortunately, they don't have... There's no character development at all, which is a real shame. Even though they do try a few times, you could argue the first scene is enough of a sort of character development with the little sort of mystery that we learn about the two, and Cole fighting for his family has depth, but it's never really explored. And the best character by far is Kano, in an absolute spotlight-stealing performance from Josh Lawson. And I think everyone's going to like him in the fact that he just doesn't give any amounts of Fs. He speaks his mind. He's very witty, very funny, and he's massively up his own self. And he does add that extra dimension of a character that you want. Like without him, the film would be quite flat, but with him, the film is that bit more fun, and that says a lot. So yeah, he's a highlight, certainly. The action's fine, it's well choreographed. It's violent, I mean, just turning up and saying, "Oh, we're making a Mortal Kombat film, we're going to make it violent," isn't enough. It's a step in the right direction, certainly, because if you've played the games, you know how violent the games are. But it isn't enough. You need to add that character and those layers. They're kind of on the surface, and they are there. They're just not explored, which is a real shame. And if we kind of got a bit of that, I think it would be much more interesting. They try to, on the surface, it's meant to be that a kind of a revenge story somewhere in there to give it some gravitas, but it's disappointing when you realise that it could have been a bit more. But superficially, on a surface level, I loved it. I did. I enjoyed it a lot. Talking about the bad then, I couldn't decide if the film is actually quite badly edited or it was very well edited and badly filmed in terms of getting the shots you need to make it all fit and flow and for it to all go smooth. I couldn't work out which it was. It may have been that they needed to cut down the runtime and they just massively chopped into it, which is a real shame because there are times where it just ruins the flow. There's one particular cut which, without spoiling anything, just takes you completely away from a quite interesting moment, and then it jumps forward in time just randomly to get to another fight. And I guess if that's what you want, fair enough. I'm not really disagreeing that it does the job. I just feel like maybe there was an obvious flourish to that to make it smoother, to make it nicer, to make it feel a bit more interesting and a bit more, well, I guess the right word is cinematic. It kind of felt amateurish at times with the editing, but you know, I appreciate that things can go wrong and you have to try and fix them in editing and all that. So yeah, but that it was negative in that regard. I've already mentioned the lack of character, and yeah, it's a little bit of a mess at times. And when one particular character turns up, you think he's just going to tear everyone to pieces and that it's going to be a big fight, and it turns out not being as big as you hoped it would be. But again, maybe they're planning too much for the sequel. I don't know, but yeah, you felt like there was just a little something missing. So overall, I did enjoy it. On the surface, I did enjoy it for as nothing more than a nostalgic treat in terms of, oh, I've played the Mortal Kombat games. Oh, I know that character. Oh, I know which character they're referring to. I understand what they're doing and why. And yeah, it's fine. It's enjoyable. I'm never going to tell you that it isn't. I'm really not, because it is enjoyable, and the thing that I did like about it is actually, again, part of the story is that the bad guys want to win Mortal Kombat, and they essentially cheat within the rules, in that there's nothing that says we can't fight outside of the tournament. So we're going to fight outside the tournament. If they die, that's because they weren't prepared. And yeah, that's their kind of influence. Like, it's cheating with it. I like the idea, and that generally, when it comes up in films a lot of the time, I'm the one to point out things like that. It's cheating within the rules. So if there's nothing that says you can't do it, you can do it, basically. And I like that. I like that a lot. But the film, it does have problems. Editing, a bit too fast at times. It moves very quickly. Even though, as I've said, Cole is our character who's our in. There's times where he kind of believes too much too quickly. But I guess the thing around that is seeing is believing, and if you're fighting for your life, you kind of have to quickly accept that it's real. So yeah, maybe that's a bit of a harsh one, but. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I did. I really did. I just, I hope they do a lot more with the sequel. And one last one, the quotes in it that are from the games are real grin-giving moments. Scorpion's famous line, which when he actually says it, you're just like, yes! Thank you very much, folks. Hope you've enjoyed my thoughts. Please let me know what you think. Go enjoy Mortal Kombat. Please do. Go enjoy it. We want a sequel. We do. We want the full plan to come to fruition. because it is going to be fun. It is violent and it is a bit silly, but you know, the games are fighting games. Just give them a reason to go and fight. More or less, that's what we wanted from a game that's from a game adaptation like this one. So yeah, go enjoy it. I think you will. I'll see you next time, and I look forward to hearing what you all thought. Do subscribe, and I'll see you next time.